What is the most resilient parasite? An idea. Once an idea has taken hold of the brain, it's almost impossible to eradicate. We can train your subconscious to defend itself from even the most skilled extractor.
How can I do that?
Because I am the most skilled extractor. If this is a dream and you have a safe full of secrets, I need to know what's in that safe.
He knows.
Turn around.
The gun down.
Known all along.
Are you here to steal from me, or do we are actually asleep?
We're almost there.
Directed by the visionary Christopher Nolan, Inception is a mind-bending journey into the depths of the subconscious. Released in 2010, the film redefined the science fiction genre, blending a heist narrative with a complex exploration of dreams and reality. Starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Ken Watanabe, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Marion Cotillard, Elliot Page, Tom Hardy, Cillian Murphy, Tom Berenger, and Michael Caine, the story unfolds an intricate plot that challenges perceptions and blurs the line between the real and the surreal. Set in a world where technology allows individuals to navigate and manipulate the dream world, the movie delves into themes of guilt, redemption, and the human psyche. Our protagonist, Dom Cobb, haunted by his past and desperate to return to his family, is offered a chance at redemption with an impossible task: Inception, the art of planting an idea into the subconscious mind. Assembling a team of specialists, each with their unique skill set, he embarks on a perilous mission that takes the audience through a labyrinth of dreams within dreams. Nolan's direction is a tour de force of storytelling, employing innovative visual effects, a haunting score by Hans Zimmer, and a narrative structure that keeps the viewers on the edge of their seats. And in this video, we're going to explore the story, all the Easter eggs, its characters, and the meaning of its ending, with a look at Nolan's interpretation.
I've always been fascinated by the nature of dreaming, the idea that while we're dreaming we can create a world, but perceive it at the same time without realizing that we're performing both those functions. And so it took me a long time to realize that when you're dealing with the world of dreams, you need emotion. And so that was really the challenge in making Inception, was to keep everything grounded, to keep everything feeling like it was possible, even as what's happening in the film is on some level impossible.
The opening of the film is a masterstroke in setting the tone and building intrigue. We see Leonardo DiCaprio's Cobb washed up on a shore, disoriented and taken to an elderly man, later revealed as Sato, played by Ken Watanabe. The scene is a foreshadowing loop, a narrative bookend that we'll revisit, revealing its true context only towards the end. It's an early hint that time and memory are fluid here. Flashback to Cobb and Joseph Gordon-Levitt's Arthur, in the middle of an extraction operation in Sato's mind. Essentially, our crash course into the film's central conceit of dream sharing. Dom is a deeply flawed, multi-dimensional character, masterfully crafted by Nolan and brought to life by DiCaprio's nuanced performance. He's an extractor, skilled in the art of invading and stealing secrets from the subconscious, yet he's plagued by his past, particularly the loss of his wife Moll. This manifests as a literal haunting in his dreams, making Moll an ever-present shadow in his operations, while Arthur, played with a cool collected demeanor by Gordon-Levitt, is more than just the team's point man. He's the anchor in Cobb's tumultuous world. He represents the logical, methodical side of the operations, often serving as a foil to Cobb's more emotionally driven decisions.
What the hell was all that?
I have it under control.
I'd hate to see you out of control.
Didn't Cobb say never to do that?
So now you've noticed how much time Cobb spends doing things he says never to do. What's she doing there?
Just head back to the room. All right, I'll take care of this.
Okay, make sure you do. We're here to work.
The pair are essentially corporate spies, and the level of detail in the dream worlds they construct to facilitate their theft is meticulously crafted to trick the dreamer, like the ornate decor of Sato's palace. But there are also subtle clues, indicating the dream state if the dreamer is observant enough. Sato's dream also introduces Moll, played by Marion Cotillard, Cobb's deceased wife.
If I jump, would I survive?
Clean dive, perhaps. Oh, what are you doing here?
I thought you might be missing me.
Moll is a wild card, a projection of Cobb's culpability and unresolved trauma, sabotaging the operation, not only adding a layer of unpredictability, but also humanizing Cobb and hinting at a tragic backstory yet to be revealed. She's the epitome of a tragic figure, intricately woven into the film's fabric as both a symbol of Cobb's guilt and a manifestation of his subconscious fears. The operation ends up revealing itself to be a test by Sato to judge Cobb's abilities. And here's the first major twist. They're in a dream within a dream, a critical exposition of the film's layered dream logic and the concept of a kick, the sensation needed to awaken from a dream.
This isn't gonna work. Wake him up. He won't wake! Give him the kick! What? Dunk him.
While their colleague Nash is apprehended for giving them up, Sato offers Cobb a job, Inception, planting an idea in someone's mind. Sato serves as more than just the client or the catalyst for the plot. He's a complex character with his own arc and motives, and Ken Watanabe brings a dignified, almost enigmatic presence to the character, making him both formidable and intriguing. Sato essentially wants them to complete the near-impossible task, but the stakes are personal for Cobb. He's a man on the run, unable to return to his children due to his murky past, and this job is his redemption arc, his chance to finally go home.
So, do you want to take a leap of faith or become an old man filled with regret?
The film then moves to the assembly of the team, where we're introduced to Page as Ariadne, a brilliant architecture student of Cobb's father-in-law, Professor Stephen Miles, played by Michael Caine, recruited to design the dreamscapes. Her name, a nod to the Greek mythological figure who helped Theseus navigate the labyrinth, is an Easter egg hinting at her role in navigating the labyrinthine dream worlds. Ariadne is far more than the token architect or the audience surrogate. She's the moral compass and the emotional heart of the film. Brought to life with an earnest curiosity by Elliot Page, Ariadne is our guide through Nolan's labyrinthine narrative. It should also be noted that the name Cobb carries a significant linguistic connection to the very theme of the film, dreams. While spelt differently, Cobb phonetically resembles the word quab, which intriguingly means dream in various languages, including Urdu, Sanskrit, Hindu, and Punjabi. This subtle naming choice not only reinforces the central motif of the movie, but also adds a layer of linguistic depth and resonance to the character of Cobb, further intertwining him with the film's exploration of the dream world. Although Professor Stephen Miles may have limited screen time, his role is significant. As Cobb's father-in-law and former teacher, Miles is a grounding presence in his tumultuous life. Caine brings a sense of wisdom and gravitas to the character, embodying the mentor figure with a subtle sense of concern and understanding of Cobb's psyche. He represents the bridge between Cobb's troubled past and his potential redemption, making him a key figure in Cobb's personal and professional journey. To help them complete the mission, Tom Hardy's Eames is the charismatic forger they've chosen, capable of shapeshifting within a dream, adding a layer of deception necessary for the heist. Hardy imbues him with a roguish charm that lights up the screen, but he's more than just charm and wit. Eames is a master of manipulation that will be essential in the art of Inception. His ability to morph into other people in the dream world isn't just cool, it's a narrative device that shows how fluid identity can be in this constructed reality. While Yusuf, played by Dilip Rao, is their chosen chemist, brought in for his expertise in sedatives, necessary for stabilizing the multi-level dreams. Dilip brings a slightly humorous yet highly skilled persona to the character, representing the scientific and experimental aspect of dream sharing. Their target is effectively Robert Fisher, played by Cillian Murphy, son of Maurice Fisher, and heir to a business empire, whom they must convince to dissolve his father's company, enabling Sato to gain corporate dominance. But Robert is not just the target of the Inception, he's the emotional linchpin of the entire operation. Portrayed with a nuanced vulnerability by Cillian, his character is complex and layered, driven by a longing for paternal approval, and plagued by a sense of inadequacy. The Inception plot revolves around implanting the idea into his subconscious, but Nolan smartly uses Robert's character to explore themes of father-son relationships, legacy, and the desire for self-identity. This sets up the film's central heist, but more importantly, it delves into the ethical implications of their actions. After all, they're not just stealing an idea, they're implanting one, which raises questions about free will and the morality of their operation, as the idea would go on to define who he is.
The subject's mind can always trace the genesis of the idea. True inspiration's impossible to fake.
It's not true.
How would you like to go home to your children?
Can't fix that. No one can.
Just like Inception.
Christopher Nolan's filmography often delves into the essence of what it means to be a filmmaker, with Inception serving as a prime example. This film in particular draws parallels between the creation of dreams and the art of filmmaking. In the movie, the dream world is a metaphor for the world of film production. This analogy is further emphasized through the roles of Cobb's team, each mirroring the key positions in a film crew. Cobb represents the director, the visionary who shapes the dream. Arthur, as the producer, ensures the plan's execution and manages the details. Eames, akin to an actor, adopts different identities within the dream. Ariadne, the architect of the dream world, parallels the role of a production designer in filmmaking. Yusuf, their scientist, represents the first assistant director, making sure they stick to the schedule. Sato symbolizes the studio, the financial and logistical backbone, while Robert represents the audience, whose experience is the ultimate goal of the heist and, by extension, the film itself.
Come back to reality, Tom.
Those kids, they're waiting for their father to come back home. That's their reality.
In the early stages, the film lays down its complex narrative architecture with precision and sets up not just a reverse heist, but a journey into the subconscious, intertwining personal loss, guilt, and redemption with a groundbreaking exploration of dream manipulation. As the team is being put together, Cobb takes Ariadne under his wing to introduce her to the mechanics of dream sharing and designing dreamscapes.
You never really remember the beginning of a dream, do you?
I guess, yeah.
So how did we end up here?
These training sessions are crucial for two reasons. They serve as an exposition for the audience to grasp the rules of this world, and they deepen Ariadne's role as more than just a designer, but as a key to unlocking Cobb's psychological barriers. In her first dream session with Cobb, Ariadne learns to manipulate the dream world, bending streets and creating entire cities to her whim. The visually striking segment not only showcases the boundless possibilities within the dream, but also introduces the concept of projections, the dreamer's subconscious that can populate and even attack inside the dream.
Why are they all looking at me?
Because my subconscious feels that someone else is creating this world.
It's here that Ariadne witnesses firsthand the dangers posed by Cobb's subconscious, especially through the violent manifestations of Moll. This is a pivotal revelation that showcases Cobb's internal conflict. His unresolved guilt and grief are more than just emotional baggage, they're potential threats to their mission. Following this, Cobb visits Eames in Mombasa, who suggests that for Inception to be successful, they need to plant the simplest version of the idea in the target's mind.
You need the simplest version of the idea in order for it to grow naturally in your subject's mind. It's a very subtle art. What you have to do is start at the absolute basic.
Which is what?
The relationship with the father.
Unfortunately, Cobb is then chased by agents of Cobol Engineering, his previous employer, but is saved by Sato, reinforcing his vested interest in the mission's success and his power in the real world. As they mull over the plan, the team realizes they need a sedative strong enough to stabilize a multi-layered dream, ultimately leading them to Yusuf in Nairobi. An important detail introduces the concept of the totem, a personal object with distinct characteristics known only to the owner, used to determine if they're in someone else's dream. Cobb essentially carries a spinning top, a totem he inherited from Moll, a crucial symbol throughout the film as Cobb's anchor to reality, yet also a link to his tragic past. Curious and concerned about Cobb's mental state, Ariadne takes a leap into Cobb's dreams without his knowledge. This bold move uncovers the depth of Cobb's torment over Moll's death and his profound sense of guilt, while also establishing Ariadne as more than just a creator of mazes, but also a potential key to resolving Cobb's internal crisis.
Why is it so important to dream?
My dreams were still together.
These aren't just dreams. These are memories.
You don't understand. These are moments I regret. They're memories that I have to change.
A crucial plot point introduced here is the idea of dream time. Yusuf explains how time extends in dreams. With each layer, time stretches further, making seconds feel like minutes and minutes feel like hours. This concept is fundamental for the multi-layered Inception plan. However, there's a catch. Dying in the dream won't wake them up, but will send them into Limbo, an expanse of unconstructed dream space from which escape is uncertain, raising the stakes significantly.
Brain function in the dream will be about 20 times normal. When you enter a dream within that dream, the effect is compounded.
Right, so what happens when we die?
We drop into Limbo.
Are you serious?
Unconstructed dream space.
It should also be noted that Robert Fisher becomes more than just a target. We learn about his strained relationship with his father Maurice, who's on his deathbed. The family dynamic is integral to framing the Inception. The idea to be planted must resonate with Robert's deep-seated emotional conflicts regarding his father's expectations and legacy. With this, the team begins to strategize the specifics of the dream layers, involving determining the settings and roles each member will play in each layer, crafting a narrative inside the dream that will lead Fisher to the Inception point. Here, Eames demonstrates his skill as a forger, showing his ability to replicate not just appearances, but also mannerisms and behaviors, specifically of Peter Browning, Robert's godfather, which will be crucial for manipulating elements within the dream to guide Robert toward the Inception.
When we take him a level deeper, his own projection of Browning should feed that right back to him.
So he gives himself the idea.
Now fully immersed in the plan, they finalize the layers of the dream, deciding on a 3-tiered dream structure, from Yusuf's rainy cityscape, Arthur's hotel setting, to Eames's snowy mountain fortress, each serving a unique purpose in manipulating Robert. Of course, in true Nolan fashion, each dream level the group must travel through to complete their Inception extends time on itself.
It's a week, the first level down, 6 months, the second, the third level.
It's 10 years.
The group begins to undergo rigorous training to handle the challenges of the multi-layered dream. And in a surprise twist, Sato insists on accompanying them into the dream, ensuring that the inception is carried out successfully.
How many team members?
5.
6.
There's no room for tourists on a job like this, Mr. Sato.
Use of sedative is a key plot point. It needs to be strong enough to sustain a stable multi-layered dream, but also allow for the possibility of a synchronized kick to wake the participants, a balancing act that underscores the risks involved in their operation. Knowing that Robert is about to board a transatlantic flight, Sato buys the entire airline like a boss. The setting is deliberately chosen for its long duration, providing enough time for the complex multi-layered dream sequence required for Inception. And, just as planned, they manage to drug Fisher before the entire team, including Sato, enters the dream world. The initial dream layer, constructed by Yusuf, is a rain-soaked city, an environment that is both chaotic and crowded. Hilariously, the rain is an unplanned side effect of Yusuf's need to urinate in reality, showcasing how physical sensations can permeate into the dream layers. Here, the group, disguised as kidnappers, abduct Fisher in the beginning of a ruse to break down his subconscious defenses and make him susceptible to the inception. Eagle-eyed viewers would have also noted that all the license plates bear the tag, The Alternate State, serving as a clever nod to the film's exploration of dreams and alternate realities. Despite the plan's initial success, they encounter unexpected resistance from Robert's militarized subconscious, with Sato getting shot in the assault.
This was not a part of the plan! He's dying, for God's sake!
Let's put him out of his misery.
No, don't do that!
He's in agony. I'm waking him up.
While normally, a death inside the dream world would wake them up, they're so heavily sedated that death would only lead them to Limbo, the unconstructed dream space and realm of raw subconscious. Here, time is heavily dilated, and the environment is shaped by the deepest thoughts of those trapped within, which only raises the stakes further. This forces them to dive into the next dream layer with Cobb's alter ego Mr. Charles, in a gambit that goes against their very principles, in an attempt to have him turn against his own subconscious. Luckily, Robert takes the bait and trusts Cobb, believing that he's here to protect him. At the same time, with the use of getting shot at while driving their bodies in a van in the first layer, the second level begins to rumble.
Strange weather, isn't it? You feel that?
With Fisher on their side, they lure him to enter the subconscious of his godfather Peter, convincing him that he was the very person trying to infiltrate him. And with Eames impersonating his godfather, the truth is that they're actually entering the mind of Eames himself, setting up the final dream layer. The snowy mountain fortress is chosen for its isolation and security, reflecting the need for a focused and undisturbed environment to implant the idea into Robert's subconscious. Their plan is to break into the fortress and lead Fisher to a safe where he'll find his father's will, a symbolic gesture meant to convince him to dissolve his father's empire. The striking design of the snow fortress draws architectural inspiration from real-world structures, particularly the Giselle Library at the University of California in San Diego. This choice, far from being arbitrary, aligns seamlessly with the film's dreamlike visual language. Designed by architect William L. Pereira, the library encapsulates the same futuristic and surreal aesthetic that Inception embodies in its dreamscapes. Its unique structure, which expands outward from its base, mirrors the expanding realities of the film's dream levels. Not just that, but with Nolan preferring practical effects over CGI, the director had the production team literally build this fortress into the side of an actual mountain.
You're not coming in? In order to find out the truth about your father, you're gonna need to break into Browning's mind on your own.
Unfortunately for the team, all hell breaks loose, with Robert's subconscious continuing to attack Yusuf in the first layer, Arthur in the second, and the rest of the team in the third.
Are those projections as a part of his subconscious?
Yes.
Are you destroying those parts of his mind?
No, they're just projections.
Moreover, Cobb's projection of Mole appears, and despite Dom aiming at her, she manages to shoot and kill Fisher before he takes her out, which seemingly ends their mission. Despite their frustration at having failed, Ariadne convinces them that they can still recover Robert from Limbo and facilitate the multi-tiered kick that would have him return here, succumb to the Inception, before riding all the kicks back up to reality together. Unfortunately, Sato begins to yield to his wounds from the first layer, as Eames sets up explosive charges to create a kick in the third, resulting in his death and subsequent relocation to Limbo.
Admit it. You don't believe in one reality anymore. So choose. Choose me.
With Ariadne and Cobb finally encountering Mole, who has Robert held hostage, his wife tries to convince him that their children were here in Limbo waiting for him, forcing Cobb to finally admit that the reason he knew Inception was possible is because he did it to Mole. He'd effectively performed it on her during their previous experiments with dream sharing, planting the idea that her world wasn't real. While it initially had worked, when they came back, the idea persisted, making her continue to doubt her reality in the real world, which caused her to take her own life and frame him for the murder in the hopes that he would be forced to join her.
You're infecting my mind.
I was trying to save you.
You betrayed me.
Mole offers Cobb a trade. She will give him Robert in return for her husband staying with her. And though he initially agrees, enabling them to find him on the porch, he ultimately decides to stay, not for her, but to recover Sato, as Ariadne and Robert use the kick to return to the previous dream layers. In the first layer, Yusuf initiates the first kick by driving the van off a bridge, with its fall timed to coincide with the kicks in the deeper layers. Simultaneously, in the second layer, Arthur is forced to battle the effects of the van falling, which causes a zero-gravity environment in the hotel. This visually stunning sequence involves Arthur fighting off Robert's subconscious projections in a weightless environment, while also preparing a synchronized kick to bring the team back from the deeper dream layer, demonstrating both his quick thinking and resourcefulness. In the Snow Fortress layer, Eames, realizing the urgency of the situation, prepares to use a defibrillator on Robert to revive him, aligning this with the kicks in the other layers. With Fisher ultimately revived, he opens the safe and finds a wind-up toy, a memento from his childhood, and a projection of his dying father expressing disappointment not in Robert, but in himself for having encouraged Fisher to try to emulate him. This emotional moment is the crux of the Inception, and it plants the seed of the idea needed to create his own path, then ultimately break up his father's company.
I know you were disappointed. I couldn't be you. No, I was disappointed that you tried.
After letting go of Mole, Cobb also finds Sato in Limbo, where he's aged significantly, and tries to convince him to honor their agreement to help Cobb clear his criminal record so he can return home to his children. The conversation between Cobb and Sato in Limbo is a moment of reckoning. It reflects their journey and the choices they've made.
Have you come to kill me? I'm an old man, filled with regret, waiting to die alone.
At the same time, in the first layer, the van finally hits the water, serving as the initial kick needed to start the chain reaction to bring the team back to consciousness. Yusuf's timing here is absolutely critical, as it sets the tempo for the kicks in the subsequent layers. Concurrently, in the second layer, Arthur manages to execute a kick by rigging a hotel room with explosives, creating a makeshift elevator to simulate gravity, and timing it with the van hitting the water in the first layer, while Eames blows up the fortress. Following the synchronized sequence of kicks, the team members wake up from the dream layers and find themselves back on the plane. Their awakening is symbolic. It's not just a return to the physical world, but also an emotional and psychological emergence from the depths of their subconscious. As we cut back to the United States, Cobb goes through immigration smoothly, indicating that Sato upheld his end of the deal. We then shift to him finally arriving home, where he reunites with his children, the driving force behind all of his actions throughout the film. The final scene is perhaps the most discussed and disputed. Cobb spins his totem to check if he's in reality or still in a dream. However, he's distracted by his children and walks away before seeing if the top falls. The camera lingers on the spinning top, which wobbles but does not topple before the screen cuts to black, leaving Cobb's reality, and by extension, the reality of everything that's transpired, open to interpretation. This ambiguity invites viewers to question the nature of reality and perception, a theme that permeates the entire film. The unresolved state of the spinning top also suggests that what matters most is not objective reality, but rather the subjective truth and meaning that characters, particularly Cobb, attach to their experiences.
They come here every day to sleep.
No, they come to be woken up. The dream has become the reality.
To get a better grip on the meaning of the ending, I want to outline some clues that were given to us throughout the film. Firstly, in the looped opening scene where Cobb finds himself washed ashore and escorted by security to meet the aged Sato, there's a subtle yet pivotal focus on Cobb's hands, particularly on his wedding ring, which he's seen wearing while eating from a bowl. This ring, however, is not a constant presence on Cobb's hand throughout the film, sparking a plethora of fan theories about its deeper meaning and connection to the dream state. Many propose that the ring is an indicator of Cobb's reality, a theory stemming from Cobb's admission to Ariadne that in his dreams, he and his deceased wife Mole are still together. Thus, when Cobb is in the dream world, he wears the ring, and when in reality, he does not. This could mean that Cobb's true totem might actually be his wedding ring, rather than the spinning top that once belonged to Mole. This perspective gains traction, particularly at the film's end, where he does not wear the ring during the plane scene or upon his return home, suggesting that he might be in reality after all. At the same time, counteracting this is the vision of his children. Throughout the film, they're often seen from a distance, with their backs turned to him, especially when he's in a dream state. Cobb, in violation of his own rules, also revisits his memories within the dream to catch glimpses of his children. Intriguingly, their appearance, particularly their clothing and the way they look, remains constant during these sequences. Given that Cobb is on the run, implicated in his wife's death, a significant passage of time is implied, during which one would expect his children to have visibly grown. Yet in the film's concluding scene, his children appear virtually unchanged, their appearance and attire identical to his memories of them. The only notable difference in this scene is that they finally turn around, revealing their faces to Cobb for the first time, which is enough for him to ignore the spinning top in favor of the heartfelt reunion that drove his actions. This unchanging portrayal of the children lends itself to the notion that the entirety of Inception is a dream. Furthermore, one of the first rules Ariadne learns about using totems to determine whether you're still inside a dream or not is that once someone else touches it, it becomes compromised. And at the end of the movie, when Cobb washes up on the shore looking for Sato, his totem is taken from him.
I know what this is. I've seen one before, many years ago.
As Cobb constantly reminds us, if we don't know how we arrive somewhere, it's likely to be a dream, and we turn up to the family house without any traveling, in a similar editing style that was used to indicate he was dreaming of his children. And most importantly, his totem remains spinning on the table for far longer than it has spun any time before, a fact confirmed by the film's script, which doesn't mention it stopping or even wobbling in the slightest. James and Philippa turn and see their dad. He steps to the window, watching their bright faces shining as they run towards him. Behind him, on the table, the spinning top is still spinning, and we fade out. While in the film it's not a fade, as the script suggested, but a very abrupt cut, assisted by a musical cue that's just as abrupt, Cobb's spinning top does not stop revolving nonetheless. This ambiguity is one of the many aspects that make Inception a topic of continued analysis and debate, as it blurs the lines between dream and reality, leaving the audience to ponder the true nature of Cobb's world. Finally, Christopher Nolan's own words on the ending of the film, given to the 2015 graduating class at Princeton University, gives us a window to his intention behind the open ending. In the great tradition of these speeches, generally someone says something along the lines of, "Chase your dreams, but I don't want to tell you that because I don't believe that. I want you to chase your reality." I feel that over time, we started to view reality as the poor cousin to our dreams. In a sense, I want to make the case to you that our dreams, our virtual realities, these abstractions that we enjoy and surround ourselves with, they're subsets of reality. The way the end of that film worked, Leonardo DiCaprio's character Cobb, he was off with his kids. He was in his own subjective reality. He really didn't care anymore, and that makes a statement. Perhaps all the levels of reality are valid. The camera moves over the spinning top just before it appears to be wobbling. It was cut to black. I skip out of the back of the theater before people catch me, and there's a very strong reaction from the audience, usually a bit of a groan. The point is, objectively, it matters to the audience in absolute terms, even though, when I'm watching, it's fiction, a sort of virtual reality. But the question of whether that's a dream or whether it's real is the question I've been asked most about any of the films I've made. It matters to people because that's the point about reality. Reality matters. The crux, even Cobb himself doesn't stop to check if the top keeps spinning or not. He rushes to hug his kids, leaving the totem behind. In that moment, he no longer cared if this world was real or not. Cobb's journey is steeped in guilt and desperation, a man driven to the edge, walking a tightrope between redemption and damnation. His character is a fascinating study of how far one can be driven by loss and the desire to rectify past mistakes, making him a tragic hero in a world where the line between reality and dreams is blurred. Leonardo DiCaprio's portrayal of Dom is a lesson in nuanced acting. DiCaprio brings a raw intensity and emotional depth to the character, capturing the essence of a man tormented by past tragedies and desperate for redemption. He walks a fine line between vulnerability and determination, conveying a character whose greatest battle is against his own psyche. DiCaprio's ability to portray Cobb's inner turmoil, particularly in scenes involving his deceased wife Moll, adds a layer of heartbreaking realism to the film, and his interactions with the other characters are charged with a sense of urgency and gravity, making Cobb not just a protagonist, but a deeply flawed and relatable human being.
As he goes deeper and deeper into the dream state, he comes closer to the things that haunt him. It is this cathartic journey that he goes on to come to grips with what has been plaguing him. Chris essentially wanted us to make this as conversational as possible. This is a world that does exist. Buy into that world, and through his actors and the people that he chose, he wanted to make sure that the audience believed that they were in that world too.
Arthur shines in moments where precision and calm are needed, most notably in the zero-gravity fight scene, a sequence that's not just visually spectacular, but also a testament to his character's ingenuity and skill. He isn't just the planner, he's the glue that holds the team's sanity together in a world that constantly shifts under their feet. And Gordon-Levitt's portrayal of Arthur is a blend of cool sophistication and professional competence, bringing a smooth, almost effortless charm to the role that serves as the perfect foil to Cobb's more emotionally volatile character. In this way, his Arthur is more than just a sidekick, he's a critical element of the team, and his performance underscores this importance with subtlety.
Security's gonna run you down, huh?
And I will lead them on a merry chase. Go to sleep, Mr. Eames.
Ariadne is not content with just designing dreamscapes. She delves into the psyche of her companions, especially Cobb. Her character is fascinating as she transitions from an intrigued, somewhat naive student to a key player who understands the stakes and the psychological depths they're playing with. Her interactions with Cobb are particularly poignant, serving as a mirror to his troubled soul and providing the emotional connection the audience needs to navigate the story's complexities. Elliot Page delivers a performance that's both inquisitive and grounded, portraying Ariadne with a sense of wonder and intelligence. Page's interactions with DiCaprio are particularly noteworthy, with the actor bringing a level of empathy and understanding to the character that becomes a guiding light for Cobb. The performance is key in making the complex world of Inception more accessible and emotionally resonant for the audience.
Your guilt defines her, and if we are gonna succeed, you have to forgive yourself, and you're gonna have to confront her.
Eames represents the creative and adaptable aspect of the team's operations, often thinking outside the box and providing solutions that others might overlook. His dynamic with the rest of the team, especially his playful banter with Arthur, adds layers to his character, making him not just a key player in the heist, but a relatable and likable figure. Tom Hardy is a standout, infusing the film with a much-needed charisma and a bit of wit, with the actor portraying Eames with a roguelike magic and a confident swagger that is both entertaining and integral to the film's dynamic. His ability to shift seamlessly from humor to intensity adds a layer of unpredictability to the character, and Hardy's portrayal of Eames as the Forger is not just about the physical transformation, but also about the psychological manipulation, which he executes with a nuanced understanding of the character's roles in the heist.
Arthur, you still working with that stick in the mud?
He is good at what he does, right?
Oh, he's the best. He has no imagination.
You mustn't be afraid to dream a little bigger, darling.
Eames, I am impressed.
Your condescension, as always, is much appreciated, Arthur. Thank you.
When it comes to Moll, her character is a beautifully tragic portrayal of lost love and the destructive power of guilt. She's not just a ghost haunting Cobb, she's a mirror reflecting his deepest regrets and the warped manifestation of his once beautiful love. Marion portrays Moll with a haunting grace, making her a constant ethereal presence throughout the film. She's a reminder of the dangers of delving too deep into the dream world, and her story with Cobb adds layers of emotional depth to the narrative. Cotillard skillfully portrays Moll as a multifaceted character, a loving wife and a twisted projection of Cobb's guilt. Her performance is a tightrope walk between vulnerability and menace, capturing the essence of a woman who's both an antagonist and a victim in Cobb's story.
Calm down.
Don't you think I can tell the difference?
If this is my dream, why can't I control this?
Because you don't know you're dreaming!
Why would you do
I freed you from the guilt of choosing to leave them. We're going home to our real children.
Those aren't my children.
You keep telling yourself that.
No, I know it.
And what if you're wrong? What if I'm what's real?
Sato's journey from a powerful businessman to a lost soul in limbo is a compelling tale in itself. He represents the film's exploration of ambition and the cost of achieving one's goals. He's a portrayal of understated power and sophistication, and Ken Watanabe brings a dignified presence to the character, making him both a formidable businessman and a man with his own vulnerabilities. His performance is layered, showing Sato as a character with his own agenda and a sense of honor, ensuring that he's more than just a plot's catalyst, but a key player whose decisions have significant consequences for the narrative.
Careful left, Mr. Cobb.
What are you doing in Mombasa?
I need to protect my investments.
When he wakes up, the mind is completely gone.
Cobb, I still honor the arrangement.
I appreciate that, Sato.
His character might not have the emotional depth of Cobb or the enigmatic presence of Sato, but Yusuf adds a layer of practicality and expertise essential for the heist mechanics. Dileep Rao's portrayal of Yusuf is a fine balance of humor and professionalism, and Rao brings a sense of earnestness to the character, portraying him as both a skilled chemist and a bit of an outsider to the core team. His performance adds a layer of practicality to the narrative, grounding the more fantastical elements with his character's scientific approach. And it goes without saying that Rao's Yusuf is crucial to the plot's execution, contributing significantly to the success of the heist.
Why do they do it?
Tell him, Mr. Cobb.
After a while, it becomes the only way you can dream.
Do you still dream, Mr. Cobb? Did you see that?
Cillian Murphy is yet another standout in a film full of strong performances. Murphy's portrayal makes Robert Fisher a sympathetic figure, transforming him from a mere target into a character with whom the audience can empathize. His Robert is a man caught between seeking approval from his father and forging his own path, and Murphy expertly navigates the emotional landscape of a character who's both a victim and an unwitting participant in the heist. His journey from a corporate heir to a man who chooses a different path is nuanced and believable, with Murphy bringing a subtle intensity to the role, making Robert's internal struggle and ultimate transformation compelling and central to the film's impact.
That will, that's his last insult, but telling you you're not worthy of his accomplishments.
You know, the will means that Dad wanted me to be my own man, not just to live for him. That's what I'm gonna do, Uncle Peter.
Finally, Michael Caine's brief but significant appearance as Professor Stephen Miles adds an essential layer to the film. As Cobb's mentor and father-in-law, Caine brings a warmth and gravitas to the role. His interactions with Cobb provide insight into Cobb's past and his motivations, and Caine's ability to convey wisdom, concern, and a touch of sadness in just a few scenes is remarkable. He represents a connection to the life Cobb has lost and his hope for redemption. Though his screen time is limited, Caine's performance leaves a lasting impression, grounding the film's more fantastical elements with his character's emotional realism.
You're here to corrupt one of my brightest. You want me to let someone else follow you into your fantasy.
The song Non Je ne regrette rien by Edith Piaf holds a pivotal place in the narrative fabric of Inception. It functions as a crucial auditory cue within the story, marking the synchronization of the kicks across different dream levels. But the significance of Piaf's song in Inception extends beyond its role in the plot, influencing even the film's runtime in a remarkable display of thematic coherence. Inception clocks in at a duration of 2 hours and 28 minutes, a runtime that directly mirrors the length of Piaf's song, which is 2 minutes and 28 seconds long. This subtle but important decision by Nolan is just another testament to his meticulous attention to detail and his commitment to weaving elements of the story into every aspect of the film.
Inception is a story that Christopher Nolan's been working on for literally 10 years. I feel the reason I'm able to just immerse myself in it is because I can trust that this actually makes sense. He's worked the whole thing through.
The musical score by Hans Zimmer is an absolute powerhouse, brilliantly complementing Christopher Nolan's vision. Zimmer doesn't just create music, he crafts an auditory landscape that becomes an integral part of the narrative fabric. The music is a masterful blend of orchestral and electronic elements, each piece meticulously tailored to enhance the film's surreal, dreamlike quality, functioning as a driving force in the storytelling that amplifies the tension, emotion, and complexity of the narrative. One of the standout aspects of his work is how he uses motifs to signal shifts in the narrative. The slowed-down notes of Edith Piaf's song are not only a clever plot device, but also a testament to Zimmer's innovation in integrating story elements within the score. This leitmotif recurs throughout the film, grounding the viewer in the film's dream logic. The way Zimmer also plays with time and rhythm in the score is nothing short of genius. The music often mirrors the film's manipulation of time, especially in the climactic scenes where the tension is turned up to almost unbearable levels. It's as if the music itself is bending time, drawing the audience deeper into the film's labyrinthine structure.
There's a point where we just let the music take over everything, because you realize that the momentum of the film is entirely defined by the structure of the music.
Inception stands as a towering achievement in modern cinema, not only for its ambitious concept, but also for the meticulous craftsmanship in its execution. Nolan's vision is brought to life through a harmonious blend of innovative storytelling, technical prowess, and a profound thematic exploration. The film's seamless integration of complex narrative structures, deeply realized characters, and groundbreaking practical effects creates a cinematic experience that's both intellectually stimulating and emotionally resonant. The masterful direction, coupled with the film's striking visual and auditory elements, crafts a multi-layered tapestry that challenges the audience's perception of reality and illusion. It's a profound exploration of the human psyche, a meditation on the nature of dreams and memory, and a reflection on the transformative power of grief and redemption, pushing the boundaries of storytelling and visual artistry.
With every film you do, you're trying to maximize the experience for the audience in terms of showing them something perhaps they haven't seen before, making them feel that they're experiencing something in a new way.
It took me a long time to write the script because I based it on this idea of a heist movie set in the world of dreams. And the problem with a heist movie is they tend to be deliberately superficial. And so it took me a long time to realize that when you're dealing with the world of dreams, that's not enough. You need emotion.
The film not only redefined what is possible in the realm of science fiction and psychological thrillers, but also affirmed the limitless potential of cinema as a medium for exploring the most complex and abstract ideas.
We're done.
I'm sorry.
Well, it's not me that doesn't get back to my family, is it? It's a shame. I really wanted to know what's going to happen in there. I swear we had this one.
With that said, that's all for today, folks. I'd love to hear your thoughts on both the ending and the film in general, so don't forget to let me know in the comments below. As always, it's been a pleasure. Nihat here with Film Comics Explained. Thanks for stopping by.
Paradox.